Now the application is ready. You can see we have all these as all this in blue. They are the commands that we can run in React. And what are those things? We have npm start to start our application. We have npm run build to build our application. We have npm text to test our application and eject. And then now that we have the application and it is inside my app folder, then if you look at it, we have it as my app. That's our application. The application is going to have its own folder, and then the next thing we need to do is to cd into the app. So we're going to type cd app. Cd simply means change directory, and then we type the name of the app. You can see we are inside the application folder now. Then we can now start the application by typing npm start. Then this will start our application and open in a browser. But before we do the application starts, we need to see what is inside our my app folder. So we go on by opening it and check what is inside. So before we do that, now we'll see what is inside the my app folder. You can see we have node modules. Node modules is the place where we have store packages and libraries that we'll be using for the application development. If you open it, you see some packages that has been installed by default by React. Even React is also part of it. If you check, you see what we are seeing. Even Babel that React is using to convert your GSS files is also there. Then we have some other applications or packages which is being used by React. So that is what is stored inside the node modules. Now let's look at another file. We have another folder called public. Inside the public, the most important thing here is the favicon and the index.html. React has is something we can call an application type of that can be called SPA. SPA simply SPA. SPA, and what does it mean? SPA simply means single page application. That is, everything we are doing is going to be served as a single page. SPA, that's what it means. So now let's go back to our folder. See that we have the index and we have some other files that are there. Now let us move on to another folder. Inside this index is where our content is being served. Index.html, that's where the content is being served. Then let's look at another one, source src. This src contains some other files that are JavaScript files that contains JSS like app and index.js. Then we have some CSS files as well, app.css and index.css, reported vitals and others. Alright, now let us see how we can open our application in Visual Studio Code. So here I'm going to open the application so that we can make changes to some of those files. Yeah, and you can see everything is being served inside localhost. It's using port 3000 by default, but this can be changed if you want to change that. So now let's see how we can start the application in Visual Studio Code. I'm going to stop this now so that we can start the application inside our Visual Studio Code. Alright, now let's move on. I'm going to close this. command line so that I can open it inside Visual Studio Code and start the application. Alright, so let me first of all go into the folder and open command prompt right there so that I can open my Visual Studio Code and switch into this directory. So I will type code dot space and code space dots. So it's going to open Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is a text editor that you can also use. We have different text editors. It depends on whichever one you want to use. But if you want to download Visual Studio Code, you go to your browser. You can just type it on Google by typing Visual Studio Code download. Then it will take you to the website where you see how to download the Visual Studio Code. Once you get there, then you see different versions of Visual Studio Code for different platforms. You see the one for Windows, the one for Linux, whether it is Debian and Ubuntu, or whether it is Red Hat, Fedora, and SUSE. Then, if you want to download for Mac operating systems, you can download the version of your operating system as it is a cross-platform application. Then you can see we can see our folders now, the node modules, the public folder, the source, and other files that are needed. Now right here, I want you to note that package.json is very important in this case. Package.json is the one that contains all the information about your application. You have the name of the app, the version of the app, and some other things like the dependencies that are needed for the application to start, and some other things that are there. Which means package.json is very important. For any JavaScript library, package.json is very important. Then you can see you have public folder. Inside the public, like I mentioned the other time, we have the index. So we can see some things that are showing right here. We can manipulate. Most of them are like the React logo and things like that. So now, if we want to take out the React logo, we need to edit some things, some files in our application. So part of things that we don't need right here, we're going to take them off at least. Let's just take those things off for now. They are not really needed, but if you like, you can leave them. It doesn't matter. It's not going to break anything. They are just explanation about how to go about things. So now, but what is very important here is that div with ID of root. Now let's move on to another file and see. You can see that nothing has broken. We still have our application intact as it should be. Okay, so the application is taking time to load right here. We might need to stop it from the command prompt and start it inside Visual Studio Code. It doesn't matter that you must always start your application inside the command prompt. You can open that same terminal inside your Visual Studio Code and start your application. And now, how do we go about that? Let's quickly look at that. So now I want to close the command prompt so that we can start the application inside the Visual Studio Code. Then to do this, we go to the command prompt, stop it. Let's close our browser. Okay, so now I want to start the application inside my Visual Studio Code. I've stopped the server running, so I can close all the commands. So if I want to do that, I will go to terminal, new terminal. Then it's going to start my terminal right here. and then I will type npm start. Press enter. It's going to start my application from the command line. Okay, that's started. Now let's move on with our editing. Now if I go to, that's all for now in the index.html. Then let me go to the source. Now what things I'm going to be explaining inside here is I'm going to start from index.js. In the index.js we import React DOM. The purpose of using React is for DOM manipulation. React has a power of virtual DOM manipulation. Then it imports the CSS that is styling this page, and then is importing a component which is called app. We have a file here called app.js. This app.js has a function called app. Like I said the other time, that our function is a component. So you are going to be creating each part of your interface as a component. So now here, what we have here is a part. It's what? App, function app, and that function is being exported down here. Export default app, the function. Now that is what we import right here. Import function app from where? From app.js. But this is a JavaScript environment. You don't need to specify the app.js. You can see when I place mouse on it, Visual Studio Code is letting me know that this is inside my app source and app.js. Alright, then we are now doing what we are doing, DOM manipulation, DOM creation here by referencing any element that is document.id of root, which is what we have inside our index.html. We have the div that says id root, which is where we are displaying our content of whatever that is coming from the app.js that we have creating inside the index.js here. So we are creating the DOM by getting whatever that is any element with document ID of root. We store it as a constant, as a variable root, and then the root is now going to render what? Going to render a React script node, the app, whatever that is coming from the app. This is a JSS. So in React we use what is called JavaScript and XML, which is a combination of our JavaScript and HTML, XML. Alright, so this is the function that is returning our JSLs. So this is HTML, right? Okay, so it's going to return this inside the index.js, and then we have that being sent to any element with ID of root, which is inside index.html. That is the process of React application. So now this process can be changed. It depends on you. You can change the app.js. You can change whatever that is inside to whatever you like. You might say, okay, you don't want to go from app to index.html. Maybe you just want to display your content directly inside index.js. We call it the functions. Right here, let's say I have another one which is maybe home. I can come here and say, okay, I want to bring home components right here directly. It depends on how we want it to be, but the structure which React has laid down for us is that it goes from app to index, from index to index.js, from index.js to index.html. Alright, so that is it. Now let's change few things in our app app.js. If you come to the app.js file, the logo that we are seeing there, if you take it off, then the logo is gone. But let me explain something about the logo before we take it off. Logo, how do you import image in React? To import image, you come right here. The logo is logo.svg, which is here down on our SRC. Then we import it and name it what? Logo. Then we now come here, image source. As you know, in HTML, you have img tag, and then you have a source. That source is the part where the image is. But in React, this is how you put your image, rather than you say slash logo.svg, or that one that you say it is inside images slash logo.jpg. In React, you don't do that. All you do in React is that if you look at it, see, that's broken the code, the image is no more showing. So in React, what you do is that you import that and then bring it in as an image, call it with the name you have used to import it into the application, which is logo. And there you can see it's opening again. Now if we remove it, that logo is gone. So we're going to come back to see how we can manipulate things right here. Thank you.